Well, we're here. Hey, it's Romania Black, and we're on episode 13 of Life Lessons with Uramichi Oniisan, and I'm not ready for this show to end. I'm really not. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. So, before we get started, I have thought about it. Normally, like with series like Skip and Loafer and Jujutsu Kaisen and series like those and Frieren, I don't look at the manga because I fully anticipate that there's going to be multiple seasons of that show. So I think there's obviously going to be a Jujutsu Kaisen season 3. So I'm not going to read the manga past the anime. And Skip and Loafer and Frieren, I'm pretty confident that they will make second seasons of those shows. I could be wrong, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because mainly those series are ones where they have a plot and characters. Not to say that Uramichi Oniisan doesn't have a plot, but it's mainly more like vignettes and kind of slice of life comedy, whereas those other series have like a thread of conflict and action that can, warrant multiple seasons. Not to say that it can't happen with a show like Uramichi Oniisan, but I don't know. The closer I got to this episode, I was like, are they going to make a second season, or are they going to just stick with 13 episodes and call it a day? And I really love this show so much. And right now, I went ahead and looked. There are 8 volumes, and I didn't look up any contents necessarily, but I was like, okay, where does the manga start off at after season 1? So basically, if you read volumes 1 through 4, that covers the season. Which means if they did a season 2, it would probably be covering the rest of volume 4 through volume 8, which are the ones that are out in English right now. I know volumes 9 and volumes 10 are out in Japan, but they're not translated into English. So, what I'm going to do is I think, for the rest of this year, at least once a month, I would like to go back to the Uramichi Oniisan manga. So for September, October, November, and December, I do plan on doing, I think in September, I'll do volumes 1 through 5. Basically, I'll be reviewing and recapping volumes 1 through 4 of the manga and reacting to volume 5. And then I'll do volume 6 in October, 7 in November, 8 in December. Those I think are going to be Patreon exclusives, but I might decide to put them on YouTube. We'll wait and see. But I'll talk more about it in the September update video when we get to it. But because, yeah, I really kind of want to read the manga. I do. So I want to read the manga, so you guys will have that to look forward to. If you're a patron, for sure. Maybe if you're on YouTube, for sure, too. So we'll see about that. But as far as the comments go, Seppi pointed out that Ikateru's sister, her name means, but she's dazzling. Which to me is kind of like a backhanded compliment. It's like, well, she's kind of ditzy, but she's dazzling. And it's like, that seems about right. The other thing is, I did watch the English dub. I have caught up to episode 12 of the English dub. English dub is great. Oddly enough, the English dub to me does not sound as BL as it could. For example, if you watch the English dub of Yuri on Ice or the English dub of Skate the Infinity, there's subtext everywhere, and those voice actors, they know what they are doing. But here with this one, they play it pretty dry for the most part. But we'll see with this last episode. I obviously haven't watched episode 13 in the dub. But I will say, the English dub in episode 12, they said that the way that they phrased it was that Uramichi had pulled out of something. So I'm like, is he changing gyms? Is that what he's doing? Is he changing his routine? It still was pretty vague, and I was like, so I don't know. The other thing that was interesting was in that same episode, it does clarify that Uramichi did not go home on his winter break. He stayed there. So that's kind of where Kumatani is like, he's kind of different. Everybody thinks he's this really great guy and like the star gymnast and all that, but he didn't go home for break. So there's a little bit more under the surface. Like, everybody thinks he's this amazing athlete, but yet he doesn't have a good home life. So I thought that was really interesting. And then the dub talked about the way that they phrased it was whenever Kumatani is like, I took you, Uramichi, as a serious guy, And Uramichi's like, I'm not serious at all. He says, doing what's expected of you isn't the same as being serious. And I thought that's when Kumatani like connected with him, because that related back to his delinquent days and everything, and how, you know, he felt like he was just doing something because he felt like society or his family was pressuring him to, but it didn't mean that he was into it. So I don't know. That could tie back to Uramichi saying doing what's expected of him doesn't mean that he's into it or serious about it. So is he actually quitting his job, or is this all a massive misunderstanding? The fact that there are more volumes of life lessons with Uramichi Oniisan leads me to believe that this is all a giant misunderstanding, but clarity may ensue. We'll just have to see. But yeah, I think I am going to read the manga. I think I am. I think I've decided that. I don't know if I will react to, if they do end up adapting to a second season, I don't know if I'll react to it, because what surprises would there be? But I at least want to read the manga, and who knows, if they never adapt a season 2, then we could say we've at least been reading the manga and enjoying it. So like I said, I'll talk more about it in the September update video for all that jazz, but I'm really sad. I've honestly been watching this show ahead of schedule, and I've been really enjoying that fact. I'm still going to read everybody's comments, don't you worry. I've not been worried about spoilers with this series, so I've been able to read everybody's comments, which is fun. It's nice to have a series that you can do that every once in a while. Usually I have to have my moderators like checking comments, making sure people aren't spoiling plot points and things like that. But with this series, I was like, well, it's not really something, I mean, you could spoil, but I feel like I didn't feel like spoilers were going to be an issue, and they really haven't been. So thank you all for that. Thank you for not spoiling me, because I wondered about that as I was reading comments, but nobody did. So that was exciting. But yeah, I am going to miss it. This was my go-to show to kind of watch whenever I wasn't feeling good, or whenever I watched something really sad. I'm like, I need something happy to balance this out. And even though Uramichi Oniisan goes through a lot of angst and existential crises, it still had a lot of really good humor, and I've kind of appreciated it for it. So now I'm sad. As far as the series is going to replace this one, go back and watch the August update video on my channel, and you'll find that out. So, because it is Romania's Choice Fridays. So, but I've talked for 7 minutes. I feel like we need to get started with this, but thank you all so much for your kindness, for your support, and for enjoying this show with me. It's been a blast. So we're going to get started and just see what we get. So I had to change this back to the Japanese subtitles, because it always wants to start me out with the dub, and in this case, I have been watching the dub, so what can we do? But in any case, we are going to start Uramichi Oniisan, Life Lessons with Uramichi Oniisan, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and I'll see you all on the other side. Let's go. So as the episode was going on, I was like, I'm glad I'm planning on reading the manga now. And maybe you all were intending that from the start. Maybe you all were trying to hint at that, being like, oh, you should read the manga. You should probably read the manga. Because I'm not going to lie, that was not a satisfying ending. And it didn't feel like an ending. It felt very... I shouldn't be surprised. I should not be surprised, because it's a comedy, and especially a dark, dry comedy like this. Of course, they go with like the Seinfeld-esque ending, where it's not really an ending. It's just kind of like, we'll just leave it here for now, and you can come back to it later, I guess. It's like, but this definitely felt almost anime original. So again, I'm going to talk about it in the September update, but in a few weeks, you may see volumes 1 through 5 and being talked about, and what all changes from the manga to the anime, because this all felt anime original. I don't know if any of you all felt that way. Maybe we'll find out once I look at the manga, but it felt, by the time you're watching this episode, I will probably have read volumes 1 through 5, so I'm sure you all will say it in the comments, but this feels very, it feels very, it felt rather anime original. I mean, what was interesting about it is I wondered, I feel like maybe not all of it was anime original. Like the part where Usahara thinks that Uramichi is going to leave, and that he's quitting. That whole storyline felt like it was part of last episode. And there is a moment here where Usahara, like, he has, there's Uramichi with his blue and purple flowers and the orange there too. And it kind of looks like a mixture of Kumatani and Usahara and Uramichi's colors all together with that bouquet. And he's like, well, this job was my calling and I appreciated it. And I got to, also work out and do weight training and it helped me in this workplace. And everybody's like, I want to touch it. There's a watermelon on your arm. And the moment that Kumatani said a new era has dawned, the moment he yelled that out, I was like, oh, this is a dream. Because Kumatani ain't gonna yell shit. He ain't gonna yell anything out. So I was like, okay, this is clearly Usahara's dream. And then all of them are talking about how it's a runaway bus. And he's like, what? And they're like, nice bulk, it's standing out. Pull apart ab bread. And I was like, and Kumatani's like, why aren't you yelling? So the fact that Usahara was the only one not shouting out what Uramichi's body parts remind them of, it made me think one of two things. Like, is this repressed that Usahara doesn't know what to say and that he thinks he's obviously subconsciously thinking that Uramichi's attractive? But also, something that I thought was kind of good for Usahara's character is that it almost seemed like Usahara didn't want to yell out these kind of like cat calls to Uramichi because he was like, well, that's not nice. I don't want to do that to him. And it kind of made me respect Usahara a little bit more, right? Even though he did freak out and think it was a prophetic dream that he should plan Uramichi's farewell party. It's a revelation from God. And Kumatani, I love that Kumatani, he's such a bitch. He really is. Watching the English dub of episode 12 made me realize Kumatani is a delinquent. He is not particularly nice. He doesn't think nice things of most people. He's a cat man. He likes his cats, his felines. That's about it. And he likes Ikateru because Ikateru, I feel, reminds him of his little brother as someone pure and innocent. So he's all about them. But Kumatani's kind of a bitch. He's not going to tell you things and he's going to let it go because he's like, well, it's not my business. And you're like, so he was gonna let Usahara just wallow in misery, and finally he was like, no, he's gonna start buying things, or he's going to ask us to buy things for the farewell party. We can't do it anymore. So it turns out I was right. It was, he got a gym membership to somewhere new. He's quitting that gym and going somewhere else. I love Igateru's little thing of the onigiri lifting weights. That part's really cute. And he's like, well, why didn't you tell me? He's like, well, you didn't ask. I'm like, are you Hoggle from Labyrinth, Kumatani? Are you? And then he's like, oh, Uramichi. He's like, why didn't you tell me the truth? And Uramichi's like, why? What did you do? So everything leading up to that, and Uramichi being like, whatever, and Kumatani being like, cheer up. I feel like Kumatani knows that Usahara likes Uramichi, but he's just like, I'm not going to say anything because it's not my business. And I'm like, of course. I feel like everything up to the title card, which is Together with MAMAN Forever, which feels like an in-episode title card. I feel like everything leading up to that, which is, the 3-minute mark, is possibly from the manga in the last episode. But I don't know. The rest of this, well, and Bonjour Man. I feel like Bonjour Man is manga canon. I cannot wait to see this in the manga. Oh my God. And actually this was foreshadowed a little bit. So it's like, oh my God. I feel like everything with Bonjour Man was manga canon as well. I just love Suda playing this desperate man. I can recognize Suda's voice pretty instantly. It's very distinct, and I like it. So Suda yelling out Uramichi is just like the funniest damn thing. It's so funny. Suda is just such a good voice actor. He just gets so passionate and into it. I love it. But, be careful what you wish for, Uramichi. Be careful what you wish for. Because granted, the God Shiso outfit was ridiculous. And very sexual, like just showing like his bare abs and stuff through the fishnets. The shorts are too short. And you think it couldn't get any worse. But be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. You just might get it. And at least they animate his shorts a little bit longer in this episode, probably because they felt uncomfortable for him. But yeah, Suda's character, Amon, is out of ideas. So his previous hit ideas, he came up with Long Hot Summer. He came up with Germinator versus Bacterian, and he came up with the god Shiso. So he did not come up with Sub-Zero Spiral. There we go. But he needs a character that surpasses all of them. And Uramichi's like, I really don't want to be a part of this. He's like, the last time I gave you ideas, you ended up making Shiso, man. And he's like, the quality of this is not great. I'm wearing a watch. I have a shirt with a heart on it and it's fishnets. This seems like a bad idea. And he's like, well, we need a great idea. And he's like, help me. And Uramichi's like, I can't. He's like, if I give you any ideas. And then he's like, I don't. He's like, don't you care if my reputation gets damaged? And Uramichi's like, no, I really don't care. I feel like Uramichi has to suck up or at least be nice around Derek Tita, the other director, because he sees him every day and he's on set. And he also tells him what to do. So if he's, if he acts up around him, the director might give him ideas of things that are not fun to do and he has to do them. But with this guy, he's just a writer. So he's like, no, he's like, I'm not going to let you dictate what I do. I don't care. So then what ends up happening is he's like, I don't want this man to follow me. And I don't want to give him ideas because it's going to end poorly. He's like, I know how the song and dance is going to go. And the writer that Suda plays is insanely dumb because he doesn't see the Shiso shirt. He just sees the head and keeps walking. So Uramichi's like, he's really dumb. And he's like, I don't like where this is heading. I didn't do anything. I don't deserve this. And they're like, wow, you're really stressing. And he's like, no, you don't understand. This is going to end poorly. So Usahara convinces them to take him out to drink and drinking. And I get that. Uramichi and Kumatani are like, you're going to end up having us pay for your drinks, but we'll take you out. Although I'm glad Kumatani, whenever Usahara's like, let's go to another bar. And Kumatani's like, no, you're just going to have me pay for your drinks. And you've already been drunk, so let's not do that. But yeah, so Suda's character ends up following him around, not only to the bars, but follows him wherever he goes. So like ends up following him like around to the grocery store, around where he eats. And he's like, I need inspiration. And that's what you're going to give me. So he ends up winning the lottery. Anytime Uramichi wins something, it's not good. It's just not good. But he wins, of all things, this extra large baguette cushion. And Uramichi's like, I don't want this. He's like, no. He's like, I already have dreams about this chicken in my dreams. It's like hugging a baguette. He's like, I don't want this. I don't want art to imitate life or life to imitate art. And of course, Amon is like, this is it. He must love baguettes. That's the inspiration. And I'm sure he watched Uramichi buy some macarons because Uramichi likes macarons. It's like one of his favorite foods. Or at least that's what he told the kids. But then he's like, no. He's like, why? And of course, that's where the inspiration came. And I feel like Uramichi knew that, Amon was following him. And he's like, I'm just going to go to the grocery store. Nothing bad's going to happen. And then he ended up with a giant baguette cushion and was like, shit, he's going to get inspiration from this, isn't he? So then we have the Hello Squad. And that took me a second in the reaction to get why they were called the Hello Squad. And I was like, oh, they're saying hello in different languages. That's what it is. So first we start out with Rama 1/2, or basically Tadano. And she is representing China for the Hello Squad with the panda. And then she says, Miss Ni Hao. Ni Hao, which is, I'm assuming, Chinese for hello. And then we have, Miss Ni Hao. And then you have Ola from Spain, which is Igatero as the Matador. I like Igatero as the Matador. The green tie actually goes really good with the Matador costume. It looks very official. Tadano's red, she looks like she's a character from Mortal Kombat, but her red Chinese traditional wear looks very cute. I like it a lot. I like that she has a little panda and Igatero has a little bull for like the Spanish, the bullfighting. That's really super cute. Mr. Hola, not very adorable. And then of course Usahara is America. Of course he is. Of course he is. I don't know if that's supposed to be an insult. But it's cute. And of course he's like, I want to be somebody as great as the Grand Canyon. That's great. I love that, actually. And then he's like, I'm Hello Rabbit. And then he has the Statue of Liberty on him. Instead of a panda or a bull, it's like the little Statue of Liberty. Super cute. I actually really like Hello Rabbit. This would totally be in America. 100%. Maybe not with the Uncle Sam hat, but it would definitely be there. Then we have India, I'm assuming, being represented. And it's Kumatani. He's like, I want to commend the person who started the trend of putting boiled eggs in a curry soup, Kuma. And Kuma has like a little elephant on his shoulder. So the four of these, adorable. Outfits, adorable. They each have a little mascot. You have the Statue of Liberty. You have an elephant. You have a bull. You have a little panda. Super cute. Absolutely wonderful. Uramichi, for some reason, gets the most inappropriate sexualized costumes ever. I'm Namaste Bear. Yep, so Namaste. Namaste Bear. And then you got to Uramichi with the deadest eyes we've seen all season. And his mascot is the little chicken thing that he created, is on his shoulder. He says, I'm a god born from the grudge of a baguette that became stale. His eyes are so dead, I can't. Because it didn't come with a storage bag for it. So oddly specific. And then he's like, my name is Bonjour, man. And his outfit is not only the little creation he has on his shoulder and him holding a baguette, he has the French flag, the white, red, and blue stripes on his boxers. On a pair of boxers. They don't even match. On a pair of boxers, there's blue and red stripes. And then he has a crop top that is a white crop top tank with macarons. And then a macaron crown. It is the gaudiest, most terrible outfit in existence. Oh my god, Bonjour man. Who's supposed to be France. And the children, and with knee-high white go-go boots. And the kids are just like, And all of them are trying not to laugh. They're trying so hard not to laugh. And they're like, how come you're the only one dressed like that? And he's like, yes, I, Bonjour man, would like to know the answer to that more than anyone. He's like, why am I not dressed normal like everyone else? Why am I in this ridiculous garb? If I find out, I'm sure I can die in peace. It's weird because it's almost like, I don't know. I know Kaylin V brought this up a few episodes ago, but with their comment, but it does almost feel like perhaps, I don't know if Amon is like subliminally like sexualizing Uramichi because he's into him. I don't want to say that because I don't believe it. But if you told me that was the case, I'd be like, okay, that does explain a lot. Or if they're just, my theory was that they're just exploiting Uramichi because he has a great physique and they're like, we're going to show off his body. But I'm also like, this is a kid's show. Like, this is not needed. But they had a comment back for episode 7 that talked about that and their theory behind it. And she's like, let's sing the hello song together. And Tadano's trying not to laugh so hard. She's like, who could say hello energetically? And they can't even look at him. And he's like, let's say hello loud. He's like, I'm sorry. And Uzuhara, like, Kumatani is the only one not laughing because Kumatani doesn't find anything funny. So Kumatani's not laughing, but Uzuhara is like, his rabbit shoot, he's just shaking. He's like, I can't laugh, don't laugh, don't laugh. And Kumatani's the only one just like, sucks for you, man. Oh my god, he's like, bonjour. Please don't make eye contact with me! Yes, Uzuhara's like, he's like, this is terrible. I feel so badly for Uramichi in the Bonjour Man costume. That is the highlight of this episode. The insanity. And he's like, this is my magnum opus. I'm like, oh my god. I feel like he may have had a part in directing Food Fight. Amon might have. That terrible movie, I think he might have. And so the Hello Squad became even more popular than Yakumi Shinobi. And I also wonder if maybe its popularity isn't just due to the kids watching, but like the moms at home watching being like, oh my god, he's hot in this ridiculous outfit. And that's why it becomes popular. But I like the idea the baguette like body pillow becomes a punching bag. And it's just like, stop. Oh my God. And yet he sleeps with that chicken and I want a baguette body pillow now, actually. So, also I find it hilarious because Suda plays in Jujutsu Kaisen a character named Nanami who is known for being associated with a baguette. So I find that very amusing to me. But what can we do? So yeah, that part I think the first half of this episode, like the first 9 minutes, I feel like is all with the manga. It's all related to the manga. But this last part where they try to do everything like on the last episode, it just all, I don't know. There's something about the humor that doesn't feel quite right. It feels a little off. So I'll be curious to see like if they actually show us these moments in the manga. Like, for example, the scene where they're sitting there and they're like, well, it's the last episode, so something crazy's got to happen, like a kid getting lost, you know, and then we have to go find him, and then we find him as the sun sets, and then we're like all together there in the background, and it's all cool. I mean, that part's okay. I like seeing Usahara in the newsboy cap and the glasses. He actually looks really good in that look. I'm sad that we don't get more of that look with him, but... And he's like, lost children, just kidding. And they're like, we don't underestimate your audience. So then the one guy that does the signs comes in, and I'm sorry, but now that I know that he also has the voice actor for Tanjiro, when he started yelling, guys, there's a problem, I heard Tanjiro. I was like, oh, I hear that cadence. That's like right there. Yep, yep, yep. But yeah, like in this episode, I feel like over the course of Uramichi Oniisan, I kind of forgot that it was Kamiya. I just kind of was like, oh yeah, it's Kamiya. I kind of forgot that as the show went on. But when I heard the one sign guy yell, I'm like, oh, there's Tanjiro's voice. Nice. So yeah, the moment that they're all like going to go look for him and then he's right there, it was hilarious. It just was completely subverted our expectations. But I don't know the context. I don't know the context for the manga where you would have a final episode because it's a manga and it's ongoing at this point. So... I think that might be anime only. So they ask where Ikateru is, and then they find out that he's hurt himself. And at first, and again, the reason why this is also anime only, I feel, is because as soon as Tadano announced that Ikateru was hurt, Kumatani did not race over there. In the manga, I feel that Kumatani would be there in a heartbeat and like holding him in his arms. That's what I was expecting to happen when they didn't see Kumatani immediately in that moment. But no. So I feel like that was anime only. And it turns out to be a damn hangnail. Now, the one part that's funny is he's like, I'm going to use my Mir Broman on it. And Mir Broman sounds like my boner to him. And that's what makes him laugh. Yep. And he's like, the show could get canceled if it was really bad. And he's like, well, at any rate, on the way here, I was really afraid that something would have happened. That we might arrive to a bloody and gruesome scene. And then Tadano gets fired off because she hears bloody and gruesome and thinks it means bride and groom. So, yeah. And then when her boyfriend called her and she said getting married, and she had like the vision, I was like, girl, you know what? If your boyfriend calls you to propose, that's a hard no. That's my thing. I'm like, if a guy, and I know we live in a digital age and people can ask to go on dates via text, via DMs. I know that's a thing. That's fine. That's fine. We're all adults. It's a digital world. But marriage is like one of your major life moments. It's like a major life commitment. And if you do that over the phone, that's a hard no. I'd be like, no, absolutely not. You got to be in face to face for that business. But yeah, then I like that when she says, oh, your senpai's getting married, and she starts to like flame up. I like that Kumatani is like trying to like fan her. That part's really funny. Maybe this is in the manga. Who knows? But then we see, this also seems anime original because like, why is Ikateru's sister in the hallway with Sayuri-chan? Why are they just randomly there? It's just like one thing after the other. And then for a second I was like, Uramichi Oniisan is not going to kill this dog. It is not going to do that. Absolutely not. No. And it almost seemed like the same animation from when Ikateru thought that Santa Claus had also left Uramichi behind. So that's what made me think of it. And she's like, no, Sayuri won the Very Good Girl Award in the dog park competition. And it shows her like see that at first. It shows her like the Very Good Girl Award, and it shows her just ramming through the hurdles. Not even going around them. Just straight through them. Sayuri's just as oblivious as the two of them are. And then when she holds the award, it says, Very Good Girl Award, Dog Park Competition, 20th place. Sayuri-chan, like last place. But they were like, here is your Very Good Girl, your participation award. Damn it, that's hilarious, actually. That's so funny. He's like, that's incredible. And they're like, what? I guess we're not having any crazy revelations. Nothing crazy happening at the end. And then poor Usahara, he tries to give the handkerchief back to the girls, asking if they'd go out to tea. And of course, the handkerchief belongs to the choreographer. But now that the choreographer has the marketing guy that he might go with, he's a lot easier on Usahara. And Cappellini is his name. Cappellini. Yeah. So luckily, Usahara is not kissed in this episode by Cappellini because he doesn't like that. I wish we could have seen more of the marketing guy. We saw Kikaku. We saw Kikaku, but I wanted to see the marketing guy again, so I'm excited for the chance to see him in the manga. That'll be really fun. So yeah, and then he's like, we need God of Shiso. Suda's character comes out and says we need a Hollywood movie of God of Shiso versus Bonjour Man, and Uramichi's like, what makes you think anybody wants to see that? And then he's like, oh, hey, Uramichi Oniisan. The part here where he's like, there's something I want to say to you, and then they get really close, and then he's like, never mind. It's like, what? And he's like, why is he saying stuff that strangely draws my attention today of all days? I want to see more with Uramichi and Kikaku. I think their relationship in the manga could be very interesting. And so they're like, well, it feels like a final episode-esque event may happen today, but it's not. They're all duds, and it's kind of annoying. It does feel a little bit like edging, right? But Uramichi's like, everyday life, no changes make you feel happy. An everyday life with no changes can make you feel happy sometimes. And I like that Utano's like, well, I can just focus on my job right now because if I do get married, I might have to quit. And Ikateru's like, well, I don't want you to quit. And everybody's like, oh, Ikateru's actually listening to the conversation for once. And then he goes back to normal. But he's like, somehow this feels like the most like the final episode. It does. It feels like a final episode. Like this is the end. They go back with the kids. They do the song. They do the end credits. It does feel like that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I definitely feel a little bit more prompted to read the manga now that I've watched the anime. But, because this was so cute. And they wrap up everything and they're like, let's all go out to eat and drink together as a group. And they get Uramichi to come. And he's like, normally adults would be two-faced or even three-faced. But you kids pretend you didn't see anything. Okay. Aw, that was actually a really good ending to the season, I think. But what a way to make you want to read the manga, because it definitely did not satisfy that end of season conclusion at all. It just made me want to go and download the manga right now and read it. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. That's likely what I'm gonna do. So I hope y'all are ready. But yeah, I'm going to talk about it in the September update video that should be out within the week on Patreon and YouTube. But I think that if I do volumes 1 through 5, recapping volumes 1 through 4, and then reacting to volume 5 in that same video in September, and then October I'll have a volume 6, November volume 7, and December volume 8. And then they don't have volumes 9 and 10 in English yet, but I can just wait on those. So we'll at least get caught up with the English translated versions of Uramichi Oniisan. And I do want to support the official release because I really like this series. I love the sense of humor of this mangaka and the creator, and I want to see more of it. So that's what we're gonna do. So we are gonna, in the meantime, start a new show next week, Romania's Choice Fridays. It's already been decided. If you're really curious, you can go check out the August update video where I'll talk about it there, and you can actually see me pick that show. Or you can be surprised next week. So, yay. But in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching this show with me. I'm so glad. I remember when this show came out in 2021 and I instantly was drawn to it. I wanted to watch it and I had to wait. I had to wait 2.5 darn years to see it, but it was definitely worth it. So I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back with more Uramichi Oniisan real soon with the manga starting next month in a couple weeks. Bye!